Hey yo, bendición, what up? This is El Conquistador back with another video. I wanted to continue with, so this is part 2. And I'm feeling hyped. When I talk about these things, I get hyped because I'm just so passionate about it. Because I'm tired of the bullshit, essentially, you know? When it comes to these, to this beautiful, tradition that is ocha, orisha, la regla de ocha, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into it. If you haven't seen part 1, definitely check it out. But this is continuing on what ocha is not, what Lukumi tradition is not. Okay, the tradition is not activating anything. There's no such thing as activating your orisha. There's no such thing as, like, there's a lady, I can't remember her name, but basically she has a video of activating your Ogun. You can look this up. Activate your Ogun or activate Ogun. And this lady's got a pot, a cauldron that an Ogun would be born in, an actual Ogun would be born in, and has different things. Some things that are correct. Okay, railroad tracks going to an Ogun. Horseshoes would go into an Ogun, but she got like sticks inside of Ogun. Sticks, that's palo. And just things that just don't go in an Ogun. And even if the stuff does go in Ogun, there's no such thing as activating anything. There's no activating statues. There's no activating orishas. There's no activating. Activating is not a thing. There's ceremony to birth orishas. One lady whipping together a pot of stuff that Ogun may or may not take, or getting a sopera and putting stuff inside of the sopera to make an ochun, and putting stuff inside of an ochun sopera, a yellow one, and putting stuff that ochun may or may not take and doing a couple prayers over it is not activating anything. These things are birthed, and they're only birthed by someone who has them already received. This lady is not initiated that I know of, like she's not crowned. If you're not crowned, you do not have ochun. Even if you have ochun and it's only ochun lavado, you cannot give ochun lavado until you have orisha on your head. You can't give anything to anyone unless you have orisha on your head. So activating anything and saying you can do this at home is not a thing. There's no such thing as activating. There's birthing orisha, and that gets done by individuals who are crowned already. That gets done with osain. That gets done with the animals involved, the prayers involved, the omiero involved, the implements involved, the right proper ritualistic protocols. But there's no activating anything, guys. There's no getting a statue and activating it. Going to a botanica. Oh, this is another thing. Going to a botanica and getting a statue or an elegua or beads, eleke beads, or if you go to the botanica, they're like a thunderstone with these stuff attached to it, like beads and stuff, and maybe it has like chango. I saw this earlier today, like it had a little chango pendant with a thunderstone. It was like a bedazzled, like a pretty piece of art that has no place in Ocha either. And they say, oh, yo, it got activated. Or have this person, like, you can't go to a botanica and activate the beads by having the person say a quick prayer. They put a little smoke on it, and they blow rum on it, and then they just put it on you. For like the peonia seeds, okay. But if we're talking ocha, there's no place of activating anything. You birth things. I mean, shit. Even the beads have to be prepared ceremoniously, okay? It's not just beads. You spit some rum on them and put some smoke on them, and then you put them on, and now you have Yamaya walking with you because she protects you because you got some blue beads. It don't work like that. There's no such thing as activating anything in these faiths. It's birthing. And again, you cannot give what you do not have. If I do not have Yemaya, and I know all the things, all the secrets that go into a Yemaya sopera, and I go and buy the stuff, and I charge you $1,000 and say, now it's your Yemaya, I ain't give you shit. Even if I did everything correctly, the fact that I don't have ocha on my head means that you don't got shit. Even though I got all the right omiero and all the right herbs and everything, since I don't have orisha on my head, I don't got ache or licencia to give you anything. So you got a bunch of bullshit as well. Okay, check it. Activating anything. Witches. There are no witches in orisha. The idea of being a witch in ocha, no. You're either an ialocha, a babalocha, an olocha, a babalao, an oluo. But being a bruja, I'll put it to you like this. Every bruja is not in yall, but I don't know, I can't think of it. But basically, you can be a bruja and still be crowned. But the idea of like, oh, because you're crowned makes you a witch, no. Being practicing brujeria makes you a witch. But there's no, the idea of witches and witchcraft, no. And like I said in my last video, there's no such thing as witchcraft in these traditions. There's adimu that you do for results, and you give an offering. You give an adimu. And even that word, the idea of giving offerings as spell work, you give an offering to Ogun for help at work. No, you give adimu and you give ebo. And you can do, within limits of what you already have received, you can do things by yourself. But if it comes out in the oracle of Ifa, the oracle of Medellin Ogun or whatever, then you will go and do that adimu and ebo. But witches, you're not a witch, mama. You're an ialocha. You're not a witch, bro. You're a babalocha. If you don't have any godchildren, you're simply an olocha. And you don't do witchcraft. You I said adimu. I said ebo. Okay. There's no such thing as a solitary witch. That's not a thing either. There's no solitary witch. Everything is community based. You don't birth anything alone. The only thing that you do solitary is once your ceremony is done. There's plenty of people that get crowned, they get ceremony done, they get their leques or they get their warriors, whatever, and they don't live the religion, they don't live their tradition, they go about their life, they go to work, they pay the bills, they go to sleep, they yada yada, and they don't live in it, and what they do alone. But when it comes time to receive something else, it's not done alone. There's no solitary witch. Everything is community based in these faiths. You cannot receive anything alone. Okay? Like by yourself, with yourself, just because you know what goes inside of a certain sopera or something. It don't work like that. What else? Okay. Pretty plastic statues. Statues that you get at the Botanica have no place in Ocha. They make nice decorations. There are some beautiful statues. But to the idea of activating them, the idea of them being anything more than decorations, they have no place. So the little elegua, the classic little black elegua, where he's standing and he has an elegua on his head, and there's a black guy with no shirt and a little loincloth or whatever. The light-skinned Ochun lady with the fan and the peacock feathers or whatever. It looks nice. And there's people that may put these representations of Orisha next to their sopera, next to their actually consecrated Orisha. And there's nothing wrong with that. It looks nice, it looks pretty, but it's just decoration. My rule of thumb, and I'm going to do a whole video on this too, about Obi. If you can't throw Obi to it, this is good. If you cannot throw Obi to it, it's not Ocha, okay? It's not an Orisha, I'll say that. If you can't throw coconut to it, it's not an Orisha. I can go to my padrino or madrina's house and be like, okay, let's throw coconut to Ogun, let's throw coconut to Ochun, let's throw coconut to Obatala. Put them on the mat, let's throw coconut. I can't go to some new age wickified witch chick who's got, because she got an affinity with Ochun and she's got all these pictures of sunflowers and all the right things, pumpkins and honey on a table, I can't throw coconut to that. Why? Because there's no orisha present. There's nothing alive. You can only speak. You can only communicate to that which is alive. And only the consecrated secrets of the orisha are alive. That which lives inside of the sopera is alive. You can speak to that using obi, but I can't throw obi to an altar of orisha because there's no orisha to speak to. There's nothing alive on the table. There's faith, which is a beautiful thing. But if we want to be like, the tradition, if you can't throw obi to it, it's not an orisha. You throw obi to egun, you throw obi to orisha. If you can't throw obi to it, it's not an orisha and it's not alive. Okay? What else? And that's like a rule of thumb. If you want to know if something's true orisha, can you safely throw obi to that and it speak back to you? Having a seashell, I can't throw obi at a seashell and say it's because it belongs to Olokun. Seashells belong to Yemaya. Seashells belong to Yemaya Olokun. But I can't throw obi to a bunch of seashells because they belong to him. I can't speak to what belongs to Olokun. I can speak to Olokun. I can speak to Yemaya. But I'm not going to throw obi to a pretty plastic fish because you got it at Home Goods and it looked really pretty and it represents Yemaya. It don't work like that. Okay? Altars have no place in Ocha. We do not have altars. We have shrines. We have shrines to actually correctly consecrated orishas. If you can't throw obi to it, it's not orisha. It's not alive. You cannot throw obi to an altar. You can throw obi to a shrine, an orisha that's on the shrine. Not all shrines are on the table. Some orisha belong on the floor. Olokun, Elegua, Ogun, Ochosi, Osun if you're Morifa and you keep Orumila next to Osun. Some keep it with the warriors on the floor. A lot of Ocha-centric houses keep Osun high up. Some do on the floor, some do high up, whatever. What else? Not all orishas Orichaoko on the floor of the earth. But these are, they're shrines. They're not altars, they're shrines. There's no such thing as altars. If you look up altar to Yemaya, altar to Ochun, all those videos that you see of statues on tables and stuff, let that serve as an example of what not to do. Okay? Planetary alignments, intergalactic cosmic stuff. Planetary alignments, the moon cycles and the moon's in retrograde, so we can or cannot do this. That's not a thing in Ochao. Where the planets are aligned have nothing to do with what's going on here on Earth when it comes to Ocha. You're never going to hear a legitimate priest say, oh no, the moon's in retrograde, so we're going to wait to give it this rooster because I don't want things to go backwards. What goes on in the cosmos and the celestial bodies has nothing to do with Ocha. And I always say, when people bring that stuff up, if I didn't want to do this spell work because the moon's not in this right grade, but they're talking about Orisha. The slaves didn't have no time to be staring up at the stars. They were too busy getting their ass kicked and trying to keep the tradition alive, So what the hell goes on in the sky? I do believe, personally, yes, in the power of planetary alignments and eclipses and all this. It has nothing to do with Ocha. The north, south, east, west, this lady was throwing Kauri Dialogun shells that were not consecrated. So no one was speaking. And saying, this shell fell to the east and is over here in the rising sun. And these shells over here, I noticed the masculine energy over here. We have Uranus and that's to the west and that's because of this and that. All over the place. All over the damn place. That has no place in Ocha. The planetary alignments have nothing to do with Ocha. Because Ochun is feminine energy and Venus is feminine energy, and so they have the same one. And I want to do my Ochun spell work when Venus is aligned with Mars, and so I have my feminine energy, my masculine energy aligned with each other. That'll really make the orisha energy super strong. No, it's Greek mythology mixing with orisha, mixing with the planets and the stars and the moon. No. If you need something done, you go to the oracle and you find out what the hell needs to be done, and you do it in a timely manner, preferably within 21 days, regardless of whether the moon is in retrograde or what cycle this freaking planet is or whatever eclipse is coming. What goes on up in there in the sky has nothing to do with what goes on Earth when it comes to the spirits of the orisha. Okay? What else? The whole idea of offerings too, like I said, offerings to a certain orisha, offerings to a certain energy. There's adimu and ebo. Offerings, spell work, none of that. That's not a thing. The idea of masculine energy, feminine energy, honoring the divine feminine, honoring the divine masculine, honoring the inner God in you, the inner goddess in you. You are every woman. You are every woman, honey. That is not a thing. Yes, Chango, yes, he represents masculine energy and Ochun is feminine energy, but all the male orishas are masculine energy, all the female orishas are feminine energy, and friggin' in Logun, what's that one orisha in Brazil, like he's considered gay, or Ochosi, he did sleep with the Inle, and friggin', Inle is considered gay or bi, whatever. But the whole just new age idea of like, the masculine energies, that's going back into crystals and new ageism and Reiki and chakras and energies. There's no like the idea of energies in Ocha. It's you either have an orisha received or you don't have an orisha received. And what you do have received, you work with by giving adimuses and ebo. That's it. The buck stops there. If you don't have it received, you want to work with the energy of it, you want to call it, if that's what makes you feel good, by working with the energy of the Yemaya, then go to the ocean and you give her a freaking watermelon. Whatever. But, there's just, you either, it's not, you're working with the energies, the masculine energies, the feminine energies, honoring the divine feminine. Yemaya is the divine feminine. She's an orisha, she's a spirit. You want to honor her, you receive her, or you go to the ocean. That's it. You give adimu and bosses. Point blank. Bye. Blah, 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 whatever, let's see. All new age terms. Like I just said, divine feminine, masculine, feminine energies, spell work, spell casting, ascended masters, witches, astrology, runes, pendulums. These are like new age, not all of them, but because I don't want to offend no one, but if you're offended by hearing the truth, then either comment below, because I know I'm gonna get a dislike on this, but don't just dislike, but say why. But if you're just offended at hearing the truth, then shit, be offended. Go continue working your Ochun spell work for a man. Another thing, there's no such thing as the matriarch path. I remember watching something on Soul Consciousness TV. He said it's a whole topic in itself, but animal sacrifice. But he doesn't believe in animal sacrifice because he follows the matriarch. He follows the divine feminine. Something about like animal sacrifice is not necessary because back in the original days, women had their periods, so there was no need for animal sacrifice. And that's like a man-made invention of animal sacrifice. I don't know what he expects. Like, was that to imply that women would just have their periods, squat over a cauldron and say they're feeding Ogun? I don't freaking know. But there's no idea of following the matriarch path or the patriarch path or that this, I don't know where the hell that comes from, but it has no place in Ocha. There's no matriarch and patriarch path. Obatala, yes, he's the patriarch, he's the father, Baba, Hekwa Baba, Yemaya, she's the mother. The matriarch path, but it's not like a matriarch path. The patriarch path, the matriarch path. All the orishas are mothers and fathers. They all have children. We are their children. And, Agayu, and Agayu's the father of Chango, Batala is the father of all of them, whatever. They're all brothers and sisters and husbands and wives and fathers and mothers. But animal sacrifice is a thing. And anyone, if you can't handle animal sacrifice, then don't be a part of Ocha, don't be a part of Voodoo, don't be a part of the 21 divisions, freaking Obia, whatever else involves animal sacrifice, you know? What else? What else does not have a place in Ocha? Yeah, just doing things alone. Everything's a community. There's no such thing as a solitary witch, solitary practitioner. You could be a solitary practitioner after you already have what you got. But if you want to progress in this faith, you can't just read everything you need in a book because you're crowned and now you think that you're going to be giving readings and think that shit's going to be accurate. You know, it's not a thing. Let me just double check. I want to make sure that I'm getting everything. I hope, you know, I'm touching somebody out there. Oh, okay. The last thing, there's no such thing as being a solitary witch. That goes back with what I was saying, but being a free spirit, because there's too many rules. This is called la regla de Ocha, the rules of Ocha. There are rules, there are regulations, there are protocols, there are traditions, and that means you follow them. I don't know, like people see rules as a bad word, protocols as a bad word because they're man-made dogmas. I don't follow man-made dogmas. Well, everything is man-made, okay? Everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, order, there's nothing wrong with order. There's nothing wrong with protocols. You know, we do things in an order, in an orderly fashion, and we see results from that. The opposite of that is chaos and just, oh, I want to be a free spirit, free spirit. If your godparent is saying every time you come to my house, you got to give me a derecho, that's bullshit. If your godparent is saying, when I say jump, you got to jump, or I'm going to have a tambor and all my godchildren are required to make it. It's mandatory. If you can't make it because of work, that's your problem. If you don't make it, you're out of my house. You're out of my lid. That's bullshit. When I say that rules and regulations in la regla de ocho are necessary, I mean women, wear a skirt if you're going to be a part of ceremonies, if you're going to do ceremonies. Wear white when you go to your godparents' house. If you know there's going to be a ceremony, if you know there's going to be misa, try not to wear black. If you're a yall, follow the rules and regulations. Follow the rules and regulations of your itad because it's only for your betterment. Okay, your thing said don't do things in threes. You know, because I was hearing someone saying, oh, there's too many rules. I want to be a free spirit. Here's another thing. There's no such thing as just working with an orisha because you feel attracted to it, because you have an affinity to it. Every chick has an affinity to Ochun. Every chick wants to be Ochun, and every dude wants to be friggin' Chango. Just because I want a new girlfriend, I'm going to work with Ochun. Or just because I want a new job, I'm going to work with Ogun. Just because I want to win this court case, I'm going to work with Ochosi. Just because I want a clear mind, I want to work with Owatala. It don't work like that. You get a reading through Ifa or the Ogun, and you find out what it is you need, and you do the proper eboses, adimus, or receive what you need to receive. But yeah, it just goes back to there's no working with the energies of, you know? So a lot of it ties into each other, but New Ageism, Wicca, Voodoo, Hoodoo, astrology, Greek astrology, Viking religion have no place in Ocha. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. And like I said, if there's anything you want me to dive deeper into, I definitely want to dive deeper into the animal sacrifice part, because that was crazy. And even like there's another YouTuber that like says like he's loves voodoo, but doesn't subscribe to animal sacrifice. Well, guess what, bro? Then don't call yourself voodoo or believe in voodoo, because that's what the hell voodoo does. That's another aspect. You know, what the hell you're gonna do? Ogu's gonna come and you're gonna say, no, here's some kale and spinach instead of a goat. Hell out of here, okay? So if there's anything that you want me to dive deeper into, I totally can. I want to dive deeper into the idea of, solitary witches and and Obi, and what else? You know, just the slaves and spiritual hierarchy and all this stuff. I want to dive into all this, okay? So let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace.